If you want to ask a question, I think you must have been there from the beginning of the retreat. Because if you just arrived yesterday, you cannot ask a question. Because that question of yours might have been answered already during the last 5 days. So we urge that those who have been there from the beginning to come and ask your question. One question only for each person. The question of the heart. And you are invited to come here and sit close so that when your time comes, you don't have to move from down there up here. And if you need someone to translate to you, well, she or he will come with you. You might ask your question in English, French, German, Vietnamese, Hebrew, Arabic. Translate from here. And you have a microphone for your use. Breathing in, I see the flowers, the chrysanthemums before me. Breathing out, I smile to them. Come and sit close to us. Good morning, my dear friends. Today is October the 24th in the year 2003, and we are in the Loving Kindness Temple of the New Hamlet during our Israelo-Palestinian retreat. Today we have a full session of questions and answers, and this is the first question.
Je vais parler en français. Je ne sais pas si quelqu'un peut traduire. Bonjour, cher Thaï. Bonjour, cher Sangha. Je suis très heureuse et en même temps très émue d'être ici, bien sûr, près de notre cher maître. Ça fait très longtemps que je souhaite être à cette place et puis je n'ai jamais osé. Je suis venue ici dans cette retraite pour retrouver en moi un processus de paix qui s'était beaucoup terni ces derniers temps. Je pense pouvoir repartir à la maison avec des graines de cette paix en moi. Je pense aussi avoir les éléments qu'il faut pour arroser ces graines. Cependant, quand je rentre à la maison, le démarrage de ce processus de paix doit pour moi commencer par un retrait. Parce que tout de suite, une communication ne pourra pas s'établir parce que nous sommes allés trop loin dans l'incompréhension mutuelle. Donc, je vais devoir m'éloigner de cette personne pour que 3 personnes puissent retrouver la paix. Donc déjà, ma première question, c'est est-ce que vous pensez que le retrait, quelquefois, pour rétablir la paix en soi, est un processus ou une tactique à droite pour que cette paix puisse vraiment s'installer dans mon cœur et dans le cœur de l'autre personne?
Someone translate that into English, please.
Ce n'est pas clair concernant le retrait. Vous avez dit que vous devez vous retirer pour que les 3 autres personnes soient heureuses, ou bien une des 3 personnes doit se retirer?
Le retrait, ça veut dire, dans ce cas-ci, dans le cas présent de ma vie, ça veut dire partir, s'éloigner d'une petite maison où on est mon compagnon, enfin, le père de mon fils, moi-même et mon fils. C'est partir pour ne plus être dans un même endroit, vivre sur un même toit, partir un peu plus loin dans une autre maison, dans ce cas-ci. Est-ce que j'ai... Pour que tout le monde puisse retrouver une paix en ce moment, oui, parce qu'il y a les 2 adultes qui mènent une guerre et un petit garçon qui subit les effets de cette guerre. Donc, pour ceci.
I'm just going to give a summary. The question to Thai is because she feels that at this point in her life, the incomprehension and the communication with the partner is not happening anymore, and they went too far. So she's feeling that maybe it's a time for her to remove herself from the situation, and because there is a child which is involved as well, and it's a constant war between the 2 adults, and so she's asking Thai if it's a good move to remove herself to find the inner peace again, to be able to bring it back to the family.
Je voudrais préciser aussi que j'ai pratiqué du 1er au 21 septembre des touchés de la terre et j'ai réalisé combien j'étais impuissante pour tout ce qui est la filiation de mon petit garçon du côté de son papa. Et que je sens les souffrances qu'il peut y avoir aussi du côté de son papa. Je ne dis pas que ces 21 touchés de la terre ont nettoyé en moi tout un héritage, mais la question que je me suis posée, et que j'ai aussi posée à son papa, c'est comment est-ce qu'on peut faire pour nous-mêmes, tout d'abord, et pour éviter des souffrances à transmettre à ce petit garçon. C'est une autre question, peut-être, que je ne sais pas si je peux la poser aussi.
In the first part of the question, she was saying too that she was here for the whole retreat, and she was feeling she's going back home with a lot of tools that she learned during the retreat. Then the second part of the question is for 21 days she practiced touching of the earth, and she was not able to be in touch with the side of her husband and sisters, and she feels that it's impossible for her to do that. But she would like, because it's a part of her son. The side of the ancestor of her husband are part of her son, and but she feels that she cannot be in touch with this part, and she needs some help for that.
You think that I can answer this question? It's not an answer that can help you, even if the answer is a superb one. Once upon a time, there was a mountain where many gods live. And the gods living on the mountain, they seem to be very happy. They did not seem to have anything to do. They spent a lot of time just sitting and walking. There was a very beautiful creek on the mountain. The water is very clear, very limpid. And it seems that every time you come and take a little bit of that water and drink, you feel light, you feel liberated. You don't feel any desire or any anger in you. And along the creek, there were many cherry trees that seemed to bloom all year. And the cherry blossoms fall into the stream, and they flow with the water. And some of them went very far until they reached a city of people, of mortal people who lived there. And then there was a person who suffered so much, and suffered so much that he wanted to die.
Because I know all the Greek towns.
And that person happened to see a petal of the cherry flowers, and he tried to follow the stream of water. And he told himself that even if he has to spend many years to find the source of the place, he will be ready to do so. So that person, after so many years of walking, was able to arrive at the mountain of the gods. And he met with the gods, and the gods invite him to come and sit close to the creek. And they invited him to kneel down and to cup some water from the creek and to drink. After having drunk that water, the person felt he did not have any more desire. Even the desire for healing and transforming. He felt very tired. He didn't want anything else. He wanted to give up everything. And then he was tempted to lie down by the creek. And he went into a very deep sleep. And during his sleep, the water continues to work within his body and his mind, transforming, purifying. And because the man was able to allow himself to be in a very deep sleep, that was why the work of healing and transformation became very easy for him. He did not do anything at all. He just allowed himself to be lying by the creek and allowed the water he drank to work for him. And some of the gods took care of him. They went into the creek and took two little pebbles that looked like emerald. And they look very limpid, like the eyes of a cat. And they went to the man who was sleeping on the bank of the creek, and they replaced his eyes with these two pebbles. They replaced his eyes with new eyes. I remember that one time I went to a doctor and I asked the doctor to replace, I had a cataract. It was like that. The gods were doing something like that. He replaced the eyes of the man and replaced and put in new eyes. It was done in just 1 or 2 minutes. The doctor took half an hour, but the gods took only half a minute. And the man slept for a long time. He did not eat, he did not drink anything. That amount of water he had drunk was enough. And then he woke up after 1 week. He was very surprised. He sat up. And he began to see the sky. He began to see the sky and the trees. He had never seen the sky like that. He had never seen the trees like that. When he arrived, Well, there was a sky, there was tree, but he did not see them like he see now because he have new eyes. And everything in him has been changed. He have got new bones. He have got new heart, a new heart. He has got new intestines. So he's completely transformed. He feels like he is one of the gods. And then he does not want to go home anymore. I don't want to go home to that place. No, no. I want to stay here with you. And then God said that you got to go home. You got to go home to help your people. If I go home, he said, I will be all alone. I cannot cope with the situation back there, down there. It's so difficult. No, I never want to go back to that place again. And God said, well, when you go home, you won't see things exactly like you have seen in the past. You see the sky. You see the trees. You see the houses. You see the people. But they would not look like before. It's like here, when you come, you saw the sky, and you saw the trees. But after a week, well, you really see the sky, you really see the trees. So don't be afraid. Go home to that place, and with your new eyes, your new lungs, your new bones, you see things differently, and you don't have to suffer. And you know something? When you go back there, you see us. We are not really staying here. We are down there at the same time with you. And the man understood. So he said goodbye to the gods, to the mountain, to the stream, and he began his journey down. It did not take a long time. It did not take several years to come. Like when he came, it just took a morning in order for him to went down. And the gods were right. When he went home with his new being, he did not see the situation as difficult, as despairing as he had seen before. He was able to look with compassion, with clarity, and his heart is opened. He discovered human beings. He felt compassion in him arising because he saw that many human beings are being caught in ideas, in ideologies, in religion, in culture. And that is why the true person, the true human nature cannot be seen. But now, because he is already a free person, he is free from all these kind of garments. That is why he could detect, he could discover the human being in every one of them. And that is why when he look at them, they listen to them. He did not get angry anymore. He did not get frustrated anymore. And with his smile, with his look, he can help them to transform. And he found out that he was not alone at all. All the gods that he found in mountain are right there to help him, to be with him. The story is a happy story because the man was able to spend 7 days on the mountains and allow himself to be the object of transformation and healing of the water of compassion. In fact, he did not do anything at all during the time he spent in the mountain. He did not practice. He did not do anything. He practiced the practice of non-practice. He just allowed himself to be embraced by the mountain, by the creek, by the trees. And he got renewed. He got new eyes. He got new ears. He got new bones, new heart. And that is why he was able to go home without fear and with a lot of compassion. And if he had been there, only looking for ideas, looking for answers to bring home, he would not be able to do so. He had not come to look for theory, for ideologies, for tactics, for strategies. He had come in order to be renewed. And he allowed himself to be renewed. And when he went home, he did not bring anything with him. Absolutely nothing in terms of teachings, ideologies, practice, and even answers. Even their superb answers. He did not bring home anything. He just bring himself back because he was totally renewed. And that is why I don't think that answer will help you. If you got your eyes changed, your heart changed, and then you don't need anything else. You don't need any practice. You don't need any strategy. That is it. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your steps.
As all the questions have been answered.
Let me see.
As all the questions have been answered already, I have a request. First of all, I would like to tell you that this is the story.
You can hear? Something is wrong. No, it should be.
Maybe I needed a little more time before I could really express myself and let you hear. As all the questions have been answered already, I have a request, not a question. But first I want to tell you that the story that you have just told, it is really a real story. It's about me. And I'm very happy. And my request is, I don't know how to put it. I could say that once upon a time I was a very angry person. And still, sometimes I'm still very angry. And I realized over the years and over the work that I've been doing that the most difficult thing for me was to express myself, saying my suffering. more easy to be angry, more immediate, more full of energy, as if. And to transform my anger, my expressing anger to expressing suffering was the most, and still is the most difficult thing for me. And I realized that for many of us, there are many angry people here that I know, that I hear, that I feel. And I know that whenever we express anger, we actually don't know how to say skillfully, please Sangha, bear with us, we suffer, we are suffering. Now, when I listen to someone else who is suffering, I feel like I need to give all my attention and all my energy to this person. And I also need sometimes and some opportunities to express my suffering, and I don't want to compete suffering. I listen to the Palestinian suffering, and I feel very, very sad, very painful. But at the same time, I do not dare to express my own suffering at the same time, as if this is not the proper time, it's not appropriate. I don't want to compare suffering, because there is no comparison to suffering. And so my request is, if you could, I don't know what I want to request, but I think that I and other people from my other Jewish people, other Israeli Jewish people, need a very long time and patience and compassion, so that they can be more compassionate to the others.
I think the Israelis, the Jews, they think they are not Vietnamese, but they are very similar to Vietnamese. They think that they are not Arabs, but they have so many things that look like the Arabs. They are human beings like us. You are human beings like us. They don't want to die. They want to live, and with safety. So they are not different from Vietnamese or Arabs or Palestinians. They are not Vietnamese. They are not Arabs. But they are very similar. They don't want to die. They want to be alive. They want brotherhood. They want peace. But sometimes, if they think that they have to die for a cause, they are ready to die. The Vietnamese are like that too. And the Arabs are like that too. They want to be alive. They don't want to die. But when they think that they have to sacrifice themselves, they have to die for some cause, they are ready to die. So we are not so different from the other people. we are separated by names, like a Buddhist, like Jews, like Muslims, and so on. And when we hear this word and we see this kind of image, we feel alienated. We don't feel communication. We have set up many things like that in order for us to be separated from each other and make each other suffer. And that is why it's very important to discover the human being in the other person and to help the other person to discover the human being in us. As a human being, we are exactly the same. And that is why if you have so many layers of robes, of garments, you prevent other people to see you as a human being. And being a Buddhist may be a disadvantage, because if you wear the title Buddhism, and then that's an obstacle. They cannot discover the human being in you. And if you have the label Muslim in you, and that might turn many people off. It's a pity, because people are caught in these notions, in these images, and they cannot recognize us as human beings. And that is why Master Lingji said that you have to burn all these things. Take them out and burn all of them. And this is a true practice, to burn everything in order for the human being to be revealed. That is the work for peace. I remember in 1963, I was sitting with a number of my students in the campus of Columbia University. We had, the morning was beautiful, and we were in the sunshine and talking to each other about the Buddhist practice of removing concepts and so on. And suddenly there was someone passing by. He stopped and looked at me for a few seconds, and then he asked, "Are you a Buddhist?" I looked up and said, "No." Did I tell a lie? I hope that my students understood me at that time. Because if I said, yes, I'm a Buddhist, and then he'd be caught in his idea of what a Buddhist is. And that did not help him. So my no is more helpful than my yes. That's the language of Zen. When you say something, you do something, that is to undo the knots in the mind of the people, and not to bind them anymore. And that is why the language should aim at liberation. When you listen to the Palestinians and all the sufferings they undergo, we understand the suffering, because we have suffered. We don't want to compare our suffering with theirs, but we understand suffering as a reality. That is the first noble truth. Suffering is. And of course, we want that suffering to stop. We don't want them to suffer anymore. But when the Palestinians ask us, we suffer like that, we have been victims like that, will you take our side? Will you be with me in order to oppose all those who have created the suffering? That will be a very difficult question to answer. You are with them. You understand deeply their question, their suffering. But when you are asked to join them in the fight to destroy what they believe to be their enemies, you are reluctant. Because we know that they have tried to do that for many years. they have not succeeded. And they have had supporters. They were not alone, they have had supporters in the country and outside the country. But that course of action, trying to destroy what we call their enemies, have not brought about anything, has not lessened their suffering. In fact, it has increased their suffering. So I am reluctant to say that I am on your side. I supported wholeheartedly, you wholeheartedly, and I will do everything you want me to do. I am not ready to take side like that. I will ask them, yes, I am ready to take your side, but are you ready to take my side? Because I am a human being like you. And you know what my side is? My side is, I share with you that suffering must stop. I agree with you that something should be done in order for the suffering to stop. I agree with you about these two things. Suffering has to stop. There must be something that could be done, that should be done in order for the suffering to stop. I agree with you that I am 1% with you on that. But on other things, relating your position, well, I might not agree. I want to act. I want to have compassion. But I don't want to act out of anger, violence, discrimination. And if you take my side, well, I'm with you 100%. Because this is not a one way. When you support someone, you bring your whole being in order to support. But in your being, there is your wisdom, there is your compassion. And without that wisdom and compassion, you cannot support someone. If I take your side, I'm not going to bring a bomb with you in order to come with you to a bus and blow off the lives of people sitting on the bus. Although I am with you in your suffering and in your desire to end suffering, I cannot be with you in that kind of act. I believe that there are many ways in order to stop the suffering. To help us, to help our people to stop the suffering, but to help the so-called enemies to stop suffering also. And for me, there is a way, there is a path that is quite clear. If we keep these poisons within us, we will suffer a lot. And what we do will not be for our benefit and for the benefit of our people and for their benefit. And these poisons are despair and anger and violence. And that is why to go to the mountain, to lie down and allow the water of compassion to transform you, to take out these elements of this poison in you is very crucial. I'm not here on the mountain to ask the God to join me in fighting my enemies. I'm here in order to allow the God to help me to take out the poisons of violence, of fear, of despair, of anger out of me. And then I know if I go home as a new person, I can help many people, my people, and maybe I can help them also. Because now I am equipped with elements, new elements, the elements of understanding, compassion, serenity, and solidity. And when the Israelis came and described to us their suffering, we are able to listen and to see that not only the Palestinians have suffered, but the Israelis have also suffered a lot. They wanted to be alive. They they don't want to die. But they have suffered for a long time because what they want, safety, has not been a reality. They are losing their safety every day. Not only the adults suffer, but the children also suffer. There are those who die in bomb attacks. They have not done anything to deserve that kind of punishment. They even don't have anger and hate in them, and yet they have to die. Injustice. Injustice is suffered not only by one side, but both sides. And that kind of understanding is very crucial. One's understanding and compassion are born in our heart, and the poisons of anger, of discrimination, of hate, of despair will transform. And that is why the only answer is to get the poison out, get the insight and the compassion in. And then we will discover each other as human beings. And we will not allow ourselves to be deceived by the outer layers, like Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, pro-American, pro-Arabian, and so on. This is a process of liberation. Liberated from our ignorance, our ideas, our notions, from our tendency to discriminate. Because if I see you as a human being who suffers so much, I will have no courage to shoot you. I will ask you to come and we work together in order to have a chance to live peacefully together. It's a pity that the earth is so beautiful, that there are enough place for all of us, and yet we have to kill each other. Sing a song for us. May I ask you a question first?
You hear me?
I'd like to ask you a question first. And I want you to answer by just one word.
What? Yes, I understand.
I want to ask you a question. And I want you to answer me just by one word, yes or no.
Yes.
Are you ready? You answer in the Zen way, huh?
What?
You know Zen?
Yeah.
You can give a Zen answer. Are you a Palestinian?
I'm Palestinian, Israeli, both.
That's good enough. Go ahead with your question.
We are talking about Israeli-Palestinian. Therefore, I'm Palestinian, Israeli. We are talking about two sides, and the two sides are not equal. One is strong, one is weak. One has all the weapons in the world and has the United States with him and has all the vetoes of the United States with him. He has nuclear weapons. He has all the weapons of the world. We are not talking about equal sides. I want your answer about this formula, about not the equal sides. Thank you.
You might be deceived by the appearance. During the Vietnam War, everyone saw that America is the big power, and the Vietnamese was just a tiny nation. They did not have the kind of weapons and technology, and they did not have that huge amount of money that Americans had. But the Americans had to withdraw from Vietnam. So we should not be too sure of our remark, of our suppose the Palestinians are more united. Suppose they talk to each other nicely, communicate to each other perfectly. Suppose they live in harmony. They treat each other like brothers and sisters in a community. They will be able to produce the kind of insight that can help them very strong, to become very strong, so that they can protect themselves. They can set up a country for their own. And they have the world behind them, supporting them in the attempt to have their own country, their own territory, their own sovereignty. I don't think you need to be a big power in order to do that. You need to be intelligent, peaceful, harmonious in order to do so. So there are things within that you have to do. Don't think that everything inside is okay. Now there only are things outside to do. This is a big mistake. Going home to ourselves, rearrange so that we have harmony and peace inside, that will bring us a lot of power. And that power cannot be seen in terms of weapons, technologies, and soldiers. Let me tell you, suppose you have a family of 10 people. In Vietnam, we used to have big families, sometimes more than 10 people. And if there are two brothers fighting each other, what will the other members of the family think and do? The two brothers are really angry at each other, and they can even kill each other because the anger is so much. You cannot stand there and allow your brothers to kill each other. At least one person will be killed, and if one member of your family is killed, you suffer as a family. But they are mad at each other. They don't have any lucidity anymore. They are carried away by their anger, their desire to hit, to kill. And then suppose there is another member of the family who try to take side, to be with one brother against the other brother. And suppose there is another member of the family who want to take side of the other brother in order to oppose this brother. I don't think that is something very wise. Standing outside and observe, that's not wise. Joining one brother against another brother is not something wise either. I think sensible people will act something like this. They will come and try to separate the two brothers and hold each brother like this, and do not let them continue fighting. Because even if you hold very fast, very, very strongly, and then you feel the energy of resist, they don't want you to hold them. They want them to be free in order to kill the other person. And who are we? Who is the United Nations? Who is the community of nations? What is the community of all nations doing? They don't seem to do anything. France does not seem to do anything. The UK does not seem to do anything. Russia does not seem to do anything. Canada does not seem to do anything. They leave everything to the United States of America. America is taking care. America may favor one side over the other side, that we don't know. We always accuse that America is on one side. America is a big brother in the human family, and she has the tendency to do everything by herself. It does not allow other members of the family to come and help. She wants to take care of Iraq alone. She wanted to take care of the Middle East alone. I think the United Nations have to come together as a family of all nations and bring the discussion as how to end the violence in the Middle East right away, in a week, holding the Palestinians like this very tight, holding the Israelis like this very tight. They can dispatch Green Beret, many troops from many countries can come and play the role of peacekeeping, not allow the fighting to continue. This is a very, very urgent. This is an emergency act. It's a very funny, very disgusting. It's a very despairing to see other members of the family sitting there and not doing anything, and just allow one country to take care. I think concerning the problem in Iraq, France, Germany, Russia have been trying to protest the fact that America was trying to do everything alone, and they have refused to send troops and money to help Americans, because this is not the problem of Americans alone. This is problem of the world. When something goes wrong in the family, the whole family has to come and help, and that is why I think that we have to guard our brothers and sisters in the Middle East to allow that to happen. They have to allow the whole human family to come and help them. They should not resist such a move. And the Americans and other people have to wake up to that fact. I think Mr. Kofi Annan has to convene a national, a General Assembly, and got the vote that the problem of Iraq and the Middle East should be taken care of by the community of all nations, and the Security Council should meet day and night in order to decide how to stop the atrocities in the Middle East right away. There are many means. They have to ask many countries: Japan, France, Germany, Russia, China, India, Brazil, other countries to come, because this concerns the whole family of human beings and not just a few members. And that is why my view, my insight, is that we should invest in the United Nations. America should invest in the United Nations. Israel also has to invest in the United Nations and allow the United Nations to become a real peace organization, peacekeeping organization. Because as it is now, the UN does not have enough authority and means in order to do it. Just because we don't believe in the family, we don't believe in the collective insight of the family. Many of us in many countries suffer very much because we feel helpless. We feel that we cannot do anything to stop the atrocities in the Middle East, because our countries do not seem to be able to play any role, even if they are represented in the United Nations. And I think if you are, otherwise we go around like this, you arrive nowhere. This is my insight. I think Mr. Kofi Annan wants very much to do that. And you have, we have, I have, we have to support him.
السلام عليكم. الكل بيعرف انه نعرف الكل بيعرف انه الشعب اليهودي باوروبا تعرض للاباده من قبل النازيه اللي كانت بالمانيا الاوروبيه. لكن نحن كفلسطينيين لا نتحمل اي مسؤوليه عن ذلك، لكن كنا ضحايا لهذه الاباده.
Everybody knows what happened to the Jewish people in Europe because of the Nazis. But about the fascist and about the Nazi. But here in Palestine, not here, there in Palestine, I see that we are the victims what had happened to the Jews there.
وايضا الشعب الاسرائيلي وليس الاسرائيلي يتعرض الان او هو ضحيه لحكومته الحاليه اللي بتأيد الاحتلال، بتأيد التوسع، مصادره الاراضي، اقامه السور العنصري.
And I think that the Israeli people now are a victim of their fascist government, which is building now the fence between the Israeli territories and the Palestinian territories. The fence and and making the Palestinian people refugees more and more.
أي أن الشعب الإسرائيلي والفلسطيني الآن هم ضحايا لحكومة الاحتلال.
The Palestinian and the Israeli people now both are victims for the occupying government now in Israel.
لأن لكل احتلال في ردات فعل، ممكن مقاومة شعبية، ممكن تفجيرات، ممكن أن نختلف أو نتوافق مع طريقة مقاومة الاحتلال.
Every occupation, the reaction of every occupation must be a resistance, and every people choose their resistance. We might not agree with each other about the kind of the resistance, but still there must be a resistance.
سؤالي إلى سيادتكم، مبادئكم تقوم على التسامح، فكيف يطلب من الشعب المضطهد والمحتل أن يسامح محتليه؟
And the people themselves need to agree what kind of resistance they should.
Your practice is relying upon forgiveness, and how we are asked to forgive the people who are depressing and occupying us. We want your answer, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have not pronounced the word forgiveness in the last 5 days. You translate it aloud. You translate aloud.
Aloud?
Yeah. You translate to him to hear, but for other people to hear.
Okay, but speak a little.
Yeah. In the last 5 days, I have not pronounced the word forgiveness. In the last 5 days,
Yes.
I have not pronounced the word forgiveness.
بقول إنه بالأيام الأخيرة هو ما لفظش كلمة forgiveness، يعني هو ما لفظهاش.
زي امبارح.
He said that he yesterday has heard the word forgiveness, and he is talking about what he heard yesterday.
They have a meeting with Type of Sister.
I think everyone is a victim.
وبقول إنه كل واحد هو ضحية.
If you are not a victim of this, you are a victim of that.
إذا كأنك مش ضحية هاد، ضحية هداك.
Suppose when you have anger and despair in you,
إذا كان في داخلك في غضب ويأس.
you are a victim of your anger and your despair.
أنت ضحية للغضب واليأس تبعك.
And that is why we should know that when you are a victim of anger and despair, you suffer very deeply.
إذا كأنك ضحية اليأس والغضب معناته أنت بتعاني يعني بشكل جدي.
Building a wall or dropping a bomb can make you suffer. That's true. But having anger and despair make you suffer also and maybe more.
لما تنرمي قنبلة أو هيك أنت بتعاني، بس المعاناة تبعتك بتخليك تعاني أكتر. يعني أنت بتغضب ولكن الغضب بخليك تعاني أكتر.
And we may be their victims, and we may be the victim of ourselves because
إحنا مرات بنكون ضحايا أنفسنا كمان.
We tend to believe that our enemy is outside of us, but very often we are our worst enemy because what we have done to our body and to our mind.
مرات إحنا بنكون أعداء لجسمنا، إيش بنعمل في جسمنا وفي عقلنا كمان. يعني إحنا بنكون أعداء لنفسنا.
There are those who find themselves in a very difficult situation, but they are not the victim of despair and anger, and that is why they don't suffer much as other people in the same situation.
يعني باختصار شديد هو بيحكي إنه إحنا ضحايا لأنفسنا، وإحنا إذا بدنا نعاني بنختار إذا نعاني ولا ما نعانيش، يعني الإشي بتعلق فينا أكتر.
And because they are not victims of their anger and despair, they are lucid, and they can do something in order to change the situation.
وإذا الواحد يعني بيختار إنه ما يكونش ضحية للغضب واليأس تبعه، بيعمل إشي عشان يغير الوضع.
The government of Israel, they are victims also.
حكومة إسرائيل هي برضو كمان ضحية، هي ضحية للأعمال تاعتها اللي بتعملها.
They are victims of their own anger, their own frustration.
هي ضحية للغضب تبعها الحرمان أو لا الفرستيشن، الحرمان يعني اللي هي بتعمله.
They are victims of their own idea at how to have peace and safety.
هن ضحايا للأفكار تبعتهن وكيف إنهن يعملوا سلام، كيف إنهن يعني مش قادرين يعملوا سلام ويعطوا أمن.
They are victim of the idea that punishment will help the other side not to continue their violence.
هن ضحايا كيف إنهن بيعاقبوا الطرف الآخر ومش قادرين يمنعوه من ممارسة العنف.
They continue to believe that violence, punishment is the kind of action that they have to take in order to prevent the other side to continue their resistance.
يعني بفكروا إنه العقاب والعنف اللي بيعملوه يعني واللي هن ضحية له بيقدر يمنع الطرف الثاني من ممارسة العنف برضه والعنف والعقاب اللي بيعملوه كمان.
And that is why to help them to remove these obstacles in the head.
عشان هيك لازم يزيحوا هاي العوائق اللي موجودة في راسهن.
Is not only to help them but to help us.
هاي الأشياء مش بس بتساعدهن بتساعدنا كمان.
And that is why what I propose to you is we have to look deeply in order to identify our true enemy, where our enemy is.
عشان هيك لازم نتعمق في داخلنا كتير عشان نقدر نتعرف على العدو الحقيقي موجود وين.
Our true enemy to me is our way of thinking, our anger, our despair.
والعدو الحقيقي اللي هو اليأس والغضب وكيف طريقة تفكيرنا كمان.
And that enemy is not only on the other side, but is on our side. It is in us.
واللي هو موجود يعني عمليا مش في الطرف الثاني، اللي هو موجود عمليا في داخلنا.
Both Israelis and Palestinians are victims. Even their government are victims of these ideas, these emotions.
والحكومتين الإسرائيلية والفلسطينية هن ضحايا للعواطف تاعتهن.
And the practice recommended by Plumlish is not to destroy the human being, but to destroy the real enemy that is in the human being.
وهنا في بلوم فيليج التمرين اللي بنعمله إنه ندمر العواطف الهدامة اللي موجودة في داخلنا.
If someone is struck by a disease like like bệnh ho lao là cái gì? Tuberculosis. So if someone had got tuberculosis and
واحد عنده يعني هذا مرض اللي اسمه
and if you want to help him, you have to kill not the man, but to kill the bacteria. The
يعني
bacteria
إذا
in
عنده
them.
المرض لازم تعالج مش الشخص إلا البكتيريا اللي موجودة فيه.
So both of all of us are victims of these bacteria called violence, wrong perceptions.
وكلانا ضحايا لهاي البكتيريا اللي موجودة في داخلنا.
And our purpose is not to kill the person, but to kill the germs, the bacteria that are at the root of our suffering, and they are the real enemy of not the human being.
ولازم نحاول إنه نقتل البكتيريا اللي هي عدونا الحقيقي مش الشخص اللي بيحملها.
So we have an opportunity to sit down together in order to localize the real enemies and try to discuss as how to remove that enemy from us.
لازم نقعد مع الشخص الثاني اللي هو يعني كأنه عدونا ونستخرج منه هذا العدو الحقيقي اللي هو يعني شبهها بالبكتيريا.
When you still have a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of despair in you, you are not lucid, you are not calm in order to undertake the right action that can bring real peace.
ولما يعني أنت مش قادر تسيطر على اليأس وعدم الأمل وهيك معناته أنت مش قادر تقتل هاي الأشياء اللي في داخلك اللي هي
I went to America in 1966 on a speaking tour, trying to tell the people in America about the suffering in Vietnam.
في 66 رحت على أمريكا عشان أخبرهن عن معاناة الشعب الفيتنامي.
And I remember one day I was speaking in New York, a big crowd, and an American young man stood up and shouted at me.
وقف رجل أمريكاني وصار يصرخ علي.
And he said that, why are you here? You should be at this time in Vietnam fighting the American imperialists.
لازم قال لي إنه بهذا الوقت شو أنت بتعمل هون؟ أنت لازم تكون بفيتنام عشان تحارب الإمبريالية هناك.
In his mind, he wanted the Americans to be defeated in Vietnam.
وهو كان يحب إنه الأمريكان يخسروا الحرب في فيتنام.
And he wanted me to hold a hand in order to kill American soldiers in Vietnam.
وكان بدي يعني إن أروح أقتل الجنود الأمريكان اللي موجودين في فيتنام.
But to me, American soldiers in Vietnam, they were also victims.
وأنا حسب رأيي كنت أشوف إنه الجنود الأمريكان اللي موجودين في فيتنام هن كانوا ضحية.
And they are victims of a policy, and that policy is made in Washington.
وهن ضحايا للسياسة اللي موجودة في واشنطن.
So the real enemy is not the American soldiers, but the policy made in Washington.
والجنود الأمريكان مش هن الأعداء كانوا هن الأعداء كانوا السياسة الأمريكانية اللي كانت موجودة في واشنطن.
It's my intention to kill the policy and not kill the American soldiers.
هدفي كان أقتل السياسة ومش أقتل الجنود.
So I smiled at the young man who was very angry, and I said, well, I thought that the root of the war is here in Washington, that is why I have come.
فضحكت له وقلت له إنه يعني أنا جاي هون أعمل إشي وهون العدو الحقيقي موجود ومش هناك في فيتنام.
So if I can say anything, that is to invite you to look deeply and to recognize, to identify the real enemy And that enemy should not the person. That enemy should be a policy, a way of thinking that has brought a lot of suffering, not only to us, but to them.
يعني عدونا الحقيقي هي السياسة، هي اللي بتجيبنا المعاناة، مش بس إلنا كمان إلهن.
And such a gathering like this, is an opportunity for us to sit down, to be calm, and to do just that, to identify the real enemy and to seek for ways to remove the real enemy.
وجلوسنا هون مع بعض هاي فرصة إلنا إنه يعني نشوف العدو الحقيقي ونحاول إنه يعني نواجهه أو نحكي معاه.
Chère Taille, je suis israélienne, française aussi. Je suis née en France. Et
she wrote an article in the mindfulness mail.
Yes, my name is Marion. What I would like to say is that I feel a tremendous help from all this community, from the Sangha, from you. And I also feel a big help from the Sangha in Israel. We have a Sangha in Israel. I can't say a big Sangha, but we have a Sangha, a good Sangha and strong. And we have also a Palestinian and Israeli Sangha. What I feel is missing is a Palestinian Sangha. And I think it is an issue for the Palestinians to decide if they want a Sangha or not. But I also would like to know what you think about this. If you think it is important also to have a Palestinian Sangha that is independent of the Israeli Sangha, of course. And if you intend to do something about this, and what? Thank you.
Of course, we wish to have a Palestinian Sangha over there. And the question is how to help set up a Sangha like that. I think the step should be taken is the actual Sangha has to practice well with diligence, invite other people to come and join the practice. Invite Israelis and some Palestinians to come and join the practice. You can sponsor a few from the area where things are so difficult to come and have a taste of the practice, to see what it looks like, the joy of breathing, walking, and looking at the sky and so on. And if you can inspire them enough to go home and to set up a Sangha, that will be a success. It's my hope that the Sangha can work on a project called the People Peace Conference. There will be enough Israelis and Palestinians coming together in a conference. People who can represent truly the two nations. The people with enough understanding of the situation, whose voice will be respected, will be listened to by the press and others. to organize a people peace conference, you have to prepare. It may take a year or two to prepare. And that is not only for the conference, it is for the growth of the community. Because you set up a goal, an aim, which is the People Peace Conference, PPC. And you take the opportunity to practice so that your Sangha can grow, not only in number, but in wisdom, in compassion, in insight. Because you know that in the People Peace Conference, you will present a People Peace Treaty. You sign a peace treaty among the two groups that can represent the two people. Your voice should be clear, strong, and representative enough to draw the attention of everyone in the political circles, in the mass media, and so on. So this is not just for the conference, but for the growth of the Sangha. And you can win the heart of many people while you are working for the conference. Because you say that the People Peace Conference will produce a People Peace Treaty. And political leaders will have to listen to you. Because the message you have has a lot of values, spiritual values, political values, and so on. You make concrete proposals that both sides have to abide to in order to have real peace. And you are talking in terms of reconciliation and brotherhood, not in terms of political gain or territory gain. And you don't need to wait until the conference starts in order to begin to draw up the peace treaty, the People Peace Treaty. You can begin right now, because this is a process of looking deeply, of finding, of structuring. Because in Plum Village you have a peace treaty for everyone, and we start from there. Peace treaty between a couple. And peace treaty between two countries will not be very different. There are practices that everyone has to follow, to abide to, in order to have real peace. So the peace treaty is like a manual practice. And not a piece of paper cannot bring peace. It is the practice of peace that can bring peace, not a peace accord. That's why while preparing for the conference and for the treaty, you are practicing. Because many of us get lost in our work. While we prepare for a conference or a retreat, well, we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves with the computer, with the telephone. We don't do these things as peace practice. But the idea here is that the peace conference, the People Peace Conference, the People Peace Treaty is an opportunity for us to practice as a Sangha. And if your Sangha grow, and if the other side has a Sangha, then you can come together in that conference. They will draw the attention of many people, not only in Israel, in Palestine, but also in Europe, in America. Many of us will come. And I think that many people will help sponsor the conference. They are wealthy people, they are influential people, but they don't know what to do in order to help. But if you can propose the right things, they will be happy to come and help with their talent, with their prestige, with their money, And such a conference can be held anywhere in the world where you can be seen very, very clearly. The mass media can report every detail of the conference. That will be able to open the eyes of so many people, not only in the Middle East, but in the world. And this is a true peace practice. I call it a true peace process. You always have our support. We try not to be a drop of water anymore. We try to be a river, a real community. There will be silence, and we are encouraged to enjoy our meal from the beginning to the end. What we eat is not only the food, but our togetherness, our friendship, our brotherhood, which is very nourishing, very healing also. This is a simple version of a monastic meal. We make it simple so that everyone can participate. And when you hear the bell ringing, you bring yourself back to your mindful breathing and to your mindful walking. And during the whole time of standing in line and serving the food, you are fully yourself. We don't talk because we want to be fully present to ourselves with our breathing in and out, with our smile, and we pay attention to the food. And then after having served, we walk slowly every step, mindfully and happily through this hall, and we sit down. The ladies on one side, the gentlemen on one side. The monastic will be holding their bowl and walk and do walking meditation, and everyone is invited to do the same. Very silent, very peaceful, and in a spirit of harmony, of brotherhood. And when we have come here, we sit down, and we don't wait. We just begin. We get continue to practice mindful breathing and enjoying ourselves together with other people. And there will be the sound of the bell in order to announce the formal meal. And someone will read the 5 contemplations, reminding us to enjoy our meal together as a family, to be a river and not as a drop of water, eating in such a way that freedom and peace and joy be possible during the time or the whole time of eating. If you can have peace and joy in a meal, you might have a chance to have peace and joy in other times. We call it a formal meal. Eating mindfully together, eating slowly, and enjoying every moment of our lunch. Thank you. massage your feet and smile to them.